Welcome into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel, glad to have you alongside here. As Cody, the boys are officially back in town. Atlanta Braves pitchers and catchers.
P's and C's, baby.
Working out as we speak. Now just a little over a month away from Braves baseball right here on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia. I mean, it felt like baseball weather outside today, Cody. Just a balmy 72, 73 degrees when you walked out the door this morning. It's a perfect
I put on my
day.
white New Balances today and mowed my lawn. Dude, it's perfect weather out for some ball.
There you go. We got a lot to get to today. Fernando Tatis signed a massive deal, a massive extension with the Padres. Could that mean some trouble brewing on the home front for the Atlanta Braves following that Fernando Tatis deal? Also, listen, there's going to be a lot of mock drafts that come out between now and April 29th, and you need something to talk about. But I was kind of under the impression that the one thing we weren't going to talk about and wasn't up for debate was who the number one pick's going to be. Well, apparently some media outlets out there have thought otherwise and are deciding to stake their flag in the Trevor Lawrence isn't the best quarterback in the draft.
Dude, this is
camp.
ridiculous.
So we'll dive into that as well. We're going to talk to Jake Mastroianni coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. He is the editor of Tomahawk Take. Again, Braves pitchers and catchers reporting. Mark Melancon, speaking of deals with the Padres, Mark Melancon has signed a 1-year, $3 million deal. A lot of Braves fans saying, what's up with that? We couldn't afford $3 million for Melancon, a dude who was one of the more solid pieces in the bullpen for the Braves last year. It's looking kind of like maybe he just wanted to be closer to home, which is the New Mexico area, or maybe he just wants to be a part of a really good Padres team and live in California. Can't blame somebody, Cody, for wanting to live in California, specifically San Diego.
It's a lot of taxes, man. I don't know.
It's a lot of taxes, but you also live in San Diego, which is one of the more beautiful cities in the world.
Definitely. Great zoo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, you're just adding to it right there. I was thinking beach, weather, all that, but zoo is up there as well. So Mark Melancon,
You're a stone's throw from Mexico, too. That's a great vacations over there.
Also going to talk to the guys a little bit later. Spring training coming up. Cody, I know the answer for you and I, but I wanted to get the answer from them. When was the last time they actually worked out? And I put it inside. The question was, doesn't count playing with your kids. Cutting your grass doesn't count, right? Going to the ballpark, slinging the football around a little bit doesn't count. When was the last time, just in terms of exercising for the sake of making yourself better? I want to know when the last time BJ, Ben, or Kevin did it. So we'll talk to them about that.
Oh, man. The last diabetes 5K.
That might be true.
Yep.
It might be a year ago
for
both of them. And I don't even know if you could say they did that for the sake of working out, right? Because they did that for the sake of is our company's 5K, right? Like, when was the last time they took time out when it wasn't on company time to exercise?
That's going to be my guess.
I'd still say that was on company's time, because if they didn't have to be there.
Oh, not on company's time. Oh,
if they didn't have to be there, they wouldn't be there.
Oh, dude.
I know Ben used to go to the gym with PJ and his brother. I don't know when the last time that happened was. I'm assuming.
And then they quit on him because they're like, we're working out with the NFL guy and he almost killed us. Yeah.
I've never almost injured myself working out, but Ben almost killed me the one time I did work out with him. Like he put me through this like arm workout thing where I literally the next morning I woke up and my arms, like my hands were like touching my chest and just like locked up there, and I couldn't extend my elbows.
Got the T-Rex arms going.
It hurt so bad. And so I have not worked out with Ben since then. It's like, Ben, your arms are as big as my legs.
Superhuman, dude.
Yeah, your arms are as big as my legs. We are not the same. I can't do the same workouts as you, but
it's all family. You're like giants.
Yeah, but I'm assuming. Oh yeah, Ben's brother.
Yeah, Jack. He came in here. We're like swapping like military stories, and he came in here. I'm not very intimidated by many people. Lucas intimidated the crap out of me.
Yeah, just
I was
imagine.
Like, whoa, this is a big dude.
No, just imagine Ben as a Marine. It's
exactly.
It's horrifying. But just a lot of big dudes in the True family. But no, I want to talk to them and see when the last time, like, because I asked Kevin, and he was like, oh. Because he can't use the 5K last year because he didn't run it last year.
He held a puppy.
Yeah, he held a puppy
time,
for the 30 minutes while we all ran. He was like, yeah, that was a heck of a workout right there.
I ran like a quarter of it.
Yeah, that was weird because BJ and I were getting after it.
I was fat, dude.
And then all of a sudden I look back and I was the only one of us that was still moving.
I was running and Ben already started ahead of me. And I go up to Ben and Ben's like, hey, man, hey, stop real quick. Come on, hang out. I was like, all right. Like, what am I going to say? No?
Wow, thanks for the invite. I think we have Cam with us as well here.
With the Atlanta hat, P's and C's coming, baby.
Yeah, welcome in, Cam. Cam, we were talking pitchers and catchers practicing for the Braves today, going through spring training, going through workouts. When was the last time you worked out for the sake of working out? I'm not talking about playing basketball because you wanted to play basketball with your boys. I'm talking about when was the last time you actually exercised for the sake of exercising?
Extremely long time. If it's not basketball, probably like a year then. No, this summer. This summer.
I think we're gonna get some funny answers here because I don't know when the last time BJ was. I think a couple years ago, him and Ben decided, like, look, we're going to start running at night. So it might be that for them. That fell off real quick as well. And I know,
did it ever start?
I know for Ben, it's pre-COVID. Like it's gotta be pre-COVID for him. So I think we're gonna get some pretty funny answers from them coming up on 3 and Out. But I wanted to dive back in.
Wait, can you trust their answers too? If they're like,
yes, because Kevin will be honest about it. When I took out again, because Kevin coaches this kid's baseball teams, because I could see that was the first thing he thought. I was like, well, like every day. I'm like, no. I was like, catching pop flies from your kids doesn't count as working out, right? That doesn't count as exercise, right? That's just, you're doing dad stuff. That to me doesn't count. I'm talking about, like, when was the last time you by yourself for the sole purpose of bettering your body worked out? And for you, it was a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was literally like not even like a day and a half ago. Yeah.
Not quite.
And I'm going again today.
Not quite as frequent as I'd like it, but you're getting better.
I'm getting better.
You're getting better in there.
I went like 2 weeks because I was in like quarantine or whatever.
Yeah.
And I went back a day and a half ago. Woke up the next day, same thing. I was like, my body hurts.
Yeah,
my body hurts so bad. And then today I'm a little sore, but I'm making myself go again today. It's a partner workout. It should be fun. I'm gonna try to team up with Angie. And you know who Angie is. Angie's a beast in the gym.
There you go. But now I wanted to dive back into this Fernando Tatis deal because, again, 14 years, $340 million for Fernando Tatis. Now,
yikes. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Hey, and good for Fernando Tatis. Like, if they're willing to offer you that much money, yeah, you're taking it. And it's baseball, so that's baseball money. That's your money now. Right? It's not like football where you're going to all of a sudden get down there 2-3 years down the line and you're not going to see the end of that deal. That's Fernando Tatis's money right there. So now comes into question the 8-year, $100 million deal that Ronald Acuna signed, which when he signed it, people all over baseball were like, what the hell is he doing? And I mean,
and I was one of them. Yes.
Like, kudos to the Braves for being able to pull that off. And I guess like
$10 million a year.
Yeah, more than that. And for the Braves, it was a great deal, an amazingly club-friendly deal for one of the top 4 or 5 budding superstars in Major League Baseball.
Top 3 to me,
but now
3.
A guy who hasn't played a full season in Fernando Tatis. I believe he's played 143 games.
Really?
143 games. Just signed a 14-year, $340 million deal, which I did some rudimentary research because the first thing everyone always says is, oh, California state taxes. I did some rudimentary research into that. I believe I'm correct into this. You could take away around 40 million of that for state income tax. If everything stays the same in California, you can take away roughly 40 million of that. So he's going to get paid 300 million, take away whatever you have to pay to the agent. And that's what you get for Fernando Tatis. Now, I mean, same thing with Ronald Acuna, right? He still has to pay an income tax in Georgia, not quite as much as California, obviously, but he still has to pay his agent as well. So again, he's not seeing that full 10 plus million a year if you're Ronald Acuna. But the wild thing to me is the Braves got Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies for basically $169 million. So one of the best young second basemen in baseball and one of the best outfielders and power hitters in baseball for $160 million. And San Diego just locked up Fernando Tatis for $340 million. I mean, I think there may be a pretty good chance that we're going to see some conversations between Ronald Acuna's agent, Ronald Acuna, and the Atlanta Braves. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Ronald Acuna says, I'm not coming to spring training until we work something else out, because he's watching Tatis get that. Juan Soto is up for a contract extension. I mean, a guy inside of his division who's kind of tied hip and hip with Ronald Acuna because their career arc kind of started at the same time.
Yeah, yep.
And so when you see the money that Juan Soto is about to get, Francisco Lindor's in line for a big raise as well. I would not be surprised whatsoever if you see Ronald Acuna say, I'm gonna stay at home. And we're gonna try to figure something out.
What would be an agreement they would come to? What worth for Ronald Acuna? He's the future of the Braves. Freddie Freeman is obviously the Brave guy right now, but Acuna is going to be the future of the Braves. What do you think what kind of deal?
From whose perspective? The Braves, or if I'm Ronald Acuna's agent?
If you're Ronald Acuna's agent, because that's the way it's going to be.
I thought Chris Domino had a great answer to this same question on 680 The Fan this morning. He said $340 million and one. That's my starting point if I'm an agent for Juan Soto, if I'm an agent for Ronald Acuna. But again, Ronald Acuna's in a tough spot because he signed his name to an 8-year, $100 million deal.
Oh, it was 8 years.
Yeah, 8-year, $100 million deal.
So he got about $12 to $13 million a year.
But this is where you go. And again, look, he's not hurting for money.
There's DNs that make more money than that.
But he's not hurting for money. But again, it's baseball rich, right? There's different levels.
Not a lot of money for baseball.
There's a ton of money. Like that's like if you're trying to decide with your kid what sport they want to play, put them in baseball because that's where you're going to make the money.
That's why Kevo's doing this.
Yeah. He's got 2 kids. He's got them both in baseball. There's a reason for that.
And extra batting practices and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, 1,000% why he's doing that. Not just because he's a good dad and wants to see his kids happy. It's because he's looking for at least one of these. I got 2 of them, so hopefully at least one of them can get up there and get a big contract.
Both really good ball players.
But Cam, if you're sitting there, you're Ronald Acuna, you have $100 million coming your way, right? Over the lifetime of that contract, that's $100 million. That's for most people in the world more money than they'll ever see. But at the same time, relative to what your skill level is, which you're a top, like Cody said, top 3, top 4 budding superstar in Major League Baseball. So this is all relative. You see a guy who you probably think you're better than sign for 3 times as much money as you, or if you want to do it over like the contract, we'll say twice as much. Sign for twice as much money as you. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but you have to blame yourself as well because you signed that 8-year, $100 million contract. Nobody told him to sign that. He told himself that. I mean, if he held out and wanted more money, we all understand that because he wants more money. But Braves can say, hey, listen, you're under contract for 8 years. You can hold out. We still got you for another good amount of years. You signed it. That's your issue. But they'll probably give him a little bit more money, not no $341 million. Some in the 200 range, maybe, if they do extend it.
Yeah. Well, I would go. I'm not blaming him for signing the deal because where he came from.
Well, he's also super young in terms of games played when he signed that deal.
I would have done a shorter term deal, though, a 4-year deal, and then eventually got around to it if you kept on playing ball right because you are so young. But the 8 years from what I said last year around this time was just a horrible deal. His agent should have never signed off on that. I don't know who was advising him at the time. Doing 8 years, pretty much all the way down.
It's easy to say it now that we're seeing what Tatis got, but like when you're Ronald Acuna, I don't know how many games he had played, but it wasn't many more than an entire season. An entire season when he signed that deal.
It wasn't a whole season. Yeah.
It's easy to say that now, but thinking back and looking at it, a dude who's in his early 20s and you sit him down and say, we're going to give you a contract that guarantees you by the end of it, you will have $100 million sitting in your bank account. $100 million. That's easy for us to sit here and be like, wow, why do you take that a year later? But in that meeting, that's really hard to say no to.
No, I was saying that last year. No,
and if you're the agent, whatever your percentage is, you're like,
usually 20 to 25%.
If I get locked in on that, hell yeah, I'm there. I don't know if it's that high, but
I think it is because you pay lawyers around that much.
I don't know, Cam. I just think before this is over, probably before spring training is over, there's going to be some news coming out about Ronald Acuna having conversations with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you say, it's hard to turn down $100 million. I'll take $1 million right now, but it's hard to turn that down. But at the same time, it's going to be, I guess it might be hard for him to dig himself out of this one. I don't know. Hopefully he can though, because you want all the athletes to get their money.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's only about 4 to 5%.
Yeah, Spotrac has it at 4 to 10%.
So lawyers, come on, guys.
But still, say it's at that 5% mark. Then if you see $100 million, you're like, for my one player right here over 8 years, I'm making $5 million.
Money, yeah.
Right. Like, so, I mean, so you say like the agent should have your client's best interest in heart, at the same time that agent's being like, oh, that's $5 million in my pocket right there. So, and then if you're the guys like Scott Boras, where you have multiple guys who are signing for the most historic contracts in history, that's how you make a lot more money than most of the great professional athletes out there. So, because you have 10 guys in your roster. So I think before this is all over, we're going to hear from Ronald Acuna and his agents. And I think it would behoove the Braves to restructure that deal, give him a little bit more money. Again, does it have to be $340 million? No. And if you're Ronald Acuna, the agent, maybe you go to him and say, bump it up and reduce the years. But I do think you're going to see some reworking of this deal coming up. Or if you're the Braves, extend him more and give him more money. It's just, I would put money on the fact that this won't stay at 8 years, $100 million for Ronald Acuna coming up. We got more to come here on Second Down. You can find us live on YouTube. Just search ESPN Coastal on YouTube, and you can watch us live. Also streaming on Twitter and Facebook as well. If you miss any portion of the show, you can check it out on Spotify. 3 and Out coming up in a little bit as well. BJ, Ben, and Kevin will dive into this Ronald Acuna news. And also, I'm interested to get BJ's take on what we're about to talk about. Trevor Lawrence, he's the locked-in QB1, or is he? We'll dive into it next right here on Second Down. pitchers and catchers getting after it today for the Atlanta Braves. Just a little over a month away from Braves baseball. So excited. And of course, we are your home of the Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Coastal Georgia. From Hilton Head to Savannah to Brunswick out to Waycross, we are your home of the Atlanta Braves. If you want to tie your business in with the Atlanta Braves, shoot us an email. You can find me, you can email me, Christian@ESPNCoastal.com. Tie your business in with the Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Radio.
Spots filling up too, man.
Oh yeah. But Cody, we were talking in the last segment. You got to have something to talk about, I guess. And by having something to talk about, they've given us something to talk about. So, this is some third party talking right here. But maybe fourth party talking, but you need something to talk about, right? And if everybody thinks Trevor Lawrence is going to be number one, lock it in. Well, then you just have to talk about picks 2 through 32. And for me, that's been fine. I mean, I schedule 3 and out. I write a lot of the stuff that this guy's going to talk about. And for the most part, the theory that I've been working under is number one's locked up, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you watched Urban Meyer at Trevor Lawrence's workout at Clemson, and he's the only coach actually on the field, hanging out with Dabo, talking to Trevor. You got to feel like that one's locked up for the Jaguars. Well, not everybody feels the same way as I do. Matt Miller from NFL Scout or the NFLscout.com, he was talking to some NFL college scouts, and he talked to one of the directors of scouting for an NFL team, and this was the quote he got about not Trevor Lawrence, but about Zach Wilson of BYU. Quote, what he does as a thrower and as a runner is exactly where we are as a league right now. He throws some of those 50-50 balls with his shoulder square to the defense after running around in the pocket, and I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech all over again. Again, that's via Matt Miller from the draftscout.com, and he was talking to an NFL college scouting director. So what I'm getting from that is Zach Wilson, he is the guy that has all the tools to be the next Patrick Mahomes, right? He's the guy you're going to bring in, and you're going to be just like the Chiefs, hosting 3 straight conference championship games because he has all the tools to be the next guy. Versus 99% of the other people out there would be saying Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, maybe since Peyton Manning. And both of those guys were pretty dang good. Like, pretty dang good. I just think this is so lame. Because to me, it's more of the NFL cookie cutter mentality where, listen, I don't get paid to scout college players for NFL teams. Obviously, this guy does, right? He gets paid a lot of money to go out there and figure out what the next wave is in the NFL. All I can talk about is what I see. And what I saw this past year was a 43-year-old quarterback in a clean pocket carving up the NFL. That's what I saw this past year. And the Super Bowl was a really stark contrast. You saw what happened when you had okay offensive line play against dominant defensive line play, where you had the most electric, explosive player in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes running for his life. And as soon as he has to run for his life, what happens? He becomes inefficient. And when you're inefficient, you start turning the ball over, which he did, and you start going 3 and out, which they did, and then you turn the ball back over to who? The guy who maybe moved 6 total yards in the game. Took the snap, took a couple steps back, hit his guys on time, moved the ball up and down the field, ran the football well, scored touchdowns, won the Super Bowl. Oh, give me my 7th trophy so I can chunk it back and forth between Boats and Tampa. Right? That's what we saw. So to me, saying he's the next Patrick Mahomes, nobody's the next Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. There's not the next Tom Brady out there, right? When was the last time you saw a team win a Super Bowl because they copied something somebody else did? Because that's all we hear in the NFL is they're trying to emulate them. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons did it, and it's blown up in the Atlanta Falcons' faces over the last decade because you bring in Thomas Dimitroff because he's supposed to be coming from the Patriots, right? And he comes from that Patriots front office, and he's going to turn Atlanta into the Patriots, right? Well, the only problem is you can't be the Patriots because you don't have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And so when you have a director of college scouting for a team say, this guy's the next Patrick Mahomes. What he can do with those 50-50 balls, he can extend plays. I don't want my quarterback to extend plays. That should be a dire situation where he's having to extend the plays. I'd rather it be what Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl, which is be on time, have a clean pocket, and just be accurate. I don't need you to put give my guys 9 seconds to get open. Do you have to extend them every now and then? Sure. You know who the best in the league at doing that is? Aaron Rodgers.
And he won MVP, right?
Yeah. Would you ever accuse Aaron Rodgers of being mobile, like an overly agile quarterback? No, but he knows how to move in the pocket. He knows how to flow and stay and keep his eyes downfield, right? Even Patrick Mahomes, sure. Is he mobile? Yeah. But when is he at his best? It's when he drops straight back, maybe hits a play action, drops straight back, has a clean pocket, and can use the cannon for an arm that he has to hit Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins and all the other amazing receivers that he has, right? This notion that guys have to be dual threat. Now, I don't want this to be misconstrued.
Okay.
I'm not saying guys like Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson don't have value in the NFL, right? I'm just saying you can't just say we are completely going away from the guys who are just pocket passers, right?
How much success have we really seen from running quarterback?
I would rather. One of us won an MVP.
Yeah, well, one, but how many of the other ones have just dropped back? So you got your
so
you got your rookie of the year.
No, but it's because for a long time NFL coaches weren't willing to adapt their offenses.
Yeah.
If you're willing to adapt your offense and move towards that, fine. But what you did with Lamar Jackson was you didn't draft him and try to turn him into something else.
Yeah.
What the Ravens saw was this guy's a winner. He dominated everybody he played against in college. Let's try something. Let's take the freak athlete and build an offense around him versus what the Falcons tried to do with Michael Vick, which was let's bring this elite athlete in,
make
here,
him a passer,
try to put him into the 1965 Dallas Cowboys offense, and then when it all breaks down, he can make us right.
I'm not saying that it's not good to be dual threat. I'm definitely not saying that. But the success that we're seeing right now, so you got a rookie of the year. Who is that? Old boy from the Chargers, Justin Herbert. Is he a big runner? No, he's not. He's not. Who was Super Bowl MVP? Tom Brady. Is he a big runner?
Well, I think before,
absolutely not. Who was MVP? Aaron Rodgers. Was he a good runner?
I think before Justin Herbert really took off and before he got injured, I think Joe Burrow was right there in the rookie of the year debate. He is athletic enough. And to me, I've said this before, he reminds me of Tony Romo, which
very much.
Tony Romo, much like Aaron Rodgers, sure, he can extend plays when need be, but that's not when he's at his best. No quarterback is at their best as
running
a
for their
thrower
lives,
when you have Ndamukong Suh breathing down your neck. No human is performing at optimal performance when you have Ndamukong Suh breathing down your neck. So just what drives me crazy is I see what he does as a thrower and as a runner is exactly where we are as a league right now. What does that mean? Because the team that just won the Super Bowl ain't there.
No,
right?
At all.
The team that was neck and neck with the team that won the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship isn't there. I hate that mentality of we have to go out and find a guy to try to be like this other team first. Let's go draft the best player and figure it out from there. And to me, the best player, bar none in this draft, if you need a quarterback, is Trevor Lawrence. I'd say the best player, I could hear arguments for Penei Sewell. I could hear arguments for Devonta Smith in this draft in terms of like if you just want to do Madden ratings, like who's the best player going to be. Right, but if you're talking about the best player in terms of being a quarterback, it's Trevor Lawrence.
Your franchise.
Yeah, and also, oh, by the way, Clemson used to draw up straight up quarterback power plays for Trevor Lawrence. I'm pretty sure he broke like a 40-yarder against Notre Dame in the ACC, the ACC championship game, right? Like, so to say where he is as a runner is where we are in the NFL. So you're saying Trevor Lawrence isn't athletic? I mean, I think he's the prototypical what you want out of a quarterback, can touch any part of the field with his arm. He's a winner. I mean, say what you will about Zach Wilson. I get it. He played in Provo for BYU, right? Probably weren't many chances for him to win those marquee games, but when he did get a top 25 game against Coastal Carolina, he lost to a true freshman quarterback.
How long was he really in the highlight at like BYU?
He had an okay
I'm talking about like highlight.
They
Since
beat
day one. Trevor Lawrence has been in the highlight. He's been in the freaking highlight.
The spotlight,
He's been in the spotlight.
Yeah.
He's been in it the whole time. The whole time. The NFL is not going to be much different for him. He's already like a top 10 most notable player in the United States, man. Like, he's going to be able to handle the pressure. He's got the athletic freaking ability. He can run. I don't care what people say. He can run whenever it needs to be.
You don't need him to.
No, exactly. But whatever you need him to, whenever it happens, he can do it. Like, he's kind of like I hate doing comparisons. I'm just like Ben Troop. I hate comparing people. I hate the whole entire.
I don't know if I'd say you're just like Ben Troop.
Well, I'm not exactly, but
about 2 feet taller than you.
But I would do more of a Josh Allen kind of light version where he can run whenever you need to, but a better version, I think. But he can sling it. Like, Josh Allen's got a huge arm and he can run when he needs to.
I don't see Josh Allen at all when I see
Josh Allen's
Trevor
good.
Lawrence. I'm not saying Josh Allen isn't good. I'm just saying I don't see Josh Allen when I see Trevor Lawrence.
I do.
I think Trevor Lawrence has a chance to be a lot better. I just think he's
I'm not saying he's not going to be better.
I think he's a different style quarterback too, just in terms of what he's able to do. And then it wasn't just this unnamed NFL college scouting director that talked to Matt Miller. June Jones, former Atlanta Falcons coach, former Atlanta Falcon quarterback. He was the head coach for Hawaii when Georgia played them back with like Colt Brennan and all those guys. He's one of the guys who really modernized the game from his playing time into his coaching time, just in terms of slinging the rock all over the field. So not many people on earth know more about just airing the football out than June Jones, right? He said he has Trevor Lawrence third.
Oh this is a joke.
He has Zach Wilson 1.
There ain't no such thing as bad pub, right? That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he has Zach Wilson 1 and Mac Jones out of Alabama 2. And the reasoning he put behind Mac Jones, and again, I'm just being fair and just saying the reason he put out there, and obviously June Jones knows more about quarterbacks than all three of us put together. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
He said that Mac Jones is better just strictly based off of his deep ball. Now, when I read that, I kind of agreed with him because
Mac Jones is number 2.
Mac Jones is on time with all of his throws. I think the caveat a lot of people put out there is, Mac Jones was throwing to Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and Calvin Ridley, and those dudes back a couple years ago. Like, he's had pretty amazing receivers. Jerry Jeudy, once Tua went down last year, like, he's had pretty amazing receivers.
Bunch of top 10 picks.
Well, I mean, okay, just this past year, right? Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith. Jalen Waddle gets hurt. You have John Mechie, who's an amazing wide receiver. He's probably going to be a first-round pick. So, like, he's had plenty of dudes to throw the ball to. Oh, by the way, the defense is having to respect Najee Harris. But you never really saw his receivers have to wait for the ball. It was always they're in full stride, having to reach out for the ball, and it carries them into the end zone, right? I mean, dude, a couple of throws against Georgia that were just stupid. In the back of the end zone, over linebackers, past the DB, into Devonta Smith's hands, where you're just like, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, there's no defense for that. So he is insanely accurate. And what June Jones said is he is a quarterback who watches his receivers. He doesn't watch the ball when it's in flight. He watches the receivers, and he said that's one of the key indicators he looks for from a quarterback is if you're watching the receivers, usually the deep ball's on time. He thinks Trevor Lawrence is a guy who watches the ball, and I don't know about that, but I do know what he's saying where Trevor Lawrence will miss some deep balls, and Trevor Lawrence a lot of times too was saved by having a T. Higgins or a Justin Ross where he just kind of threw it up and he's like, T. Higgins is going to catch this over the DB. Like, no matter where I put it, T. Higgins is going to get this. Instead of overthrowing him, he would throw it a little bit short and let his guys come back to it. I think back a couple years ago to the Alabama-Clemson National Championship, Tua's sophomore year, where Clemson smoked him in the national championship. Trevor Lawrence was a freshman, and Justin Ross was just all over people, right? Unstoppable, making like Randy Moss catch after Randy Moss catch as a true freshman. I don't inherently disagree with June Jones there, but that being said, we don't know how much of that was coaching from Tony Elliott and Clemson saying, we have Justin Ross, we have T. Higgins, don't overthrow him, put it back shoulder, let him go get it, right? We don't know how much of that was coaching. I'd rather be able to tinker with Trevor Lawrence versus trying to squeeze something out of somebody else that isn't as good. I agree. I think Mac Jones is going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think somebody's going to be lucky to get him, but I just think this sounds a whole lot like people need something to write about. Let's go mess with the number 1 draft pick because maybe it's not as locked in as we think. I think it's pretty dang locked in that Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe Zach Wilson's getting locked in at number 2 because I'm hearing that more and more. But just get ready, Cody, because you're going to see more and more of this as we get closer to the draft.
I got Mac Jones number 2. I don't understand what this whole entire Zach Wilson thing.
It's because he can run.
I'm an SEC, ACC quarterback kind of guy. You know, they're playing in big games, playing against.
I'll take some Big 12 quarterbacks, some Baker Mayfields.
Almost like NFL. Just a bunch of NFL guys coming out of the freaking SEC on defense every freaking year. Same with ACC every freaking year. It seems like a Boston College is always having some type of linebacker or a freaking edge rusher that's always coming out.
That's like 9 freakins. You're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, it's a lot though. I'm saying to stop with this BYU stuff. Who they play? Like, of course he did good. Yeah, whatever.
He ran into a dude named Grayson McCall at Coastal Carolina and got lit up.
There we go.
We got more to come on Second Down after this. If you need your daily dose of defending the man, Kevin Thomas is going to be here for you in about 15 minutes. Talking about the Ronald Acuna trade, there were just 6 analysts on MLB Network, and they put out their top 10 players in Major League Baseball, and none of them had Ronald Acuna in their top 10, which I just think is malarkey. But I asked Kevin, I go, is he in your top 10? And Kevin gave me the, and I said, get the hell out of here. I was like, if I had asked you that yesterday, it's an absolute yes. But because you're arguing for the fact that the Braves did the right thing by signing Ronald Acuna to an 8-year, $100 million deal, now all of a sudden Ronald Acuna is not a top 10 player. Get the hell out of here. I think it's multiple things can be true. Ronald Acuna is worth more than his contract. That is 1,000% true. The Braves probably did the right thing by signing him to that 8-year, $100 million deal. Absolutely. Like multiple things can be true. That doesn't mean it's going to shake out and be right for the full term of that deal. And I think if the Braves want to do right by him and want to do right in the eyes of, I guess, potential future free agents, potential guys that they have in the farm system, I think you got to rework that Ronald Acuna deal because I think he's worth it.
Absolutely. 110% worth it. It's keep your players happy and they will play right for you.
But I mean, how many times have you seen it with the Braves where you lose the guy to the Yankees or you lose the guy to the Dodgers
all the time?
You're just like, think about to Mark Teixeira and guys like that. It's just you lose the guys because you're not willing to pay them, and now you get these amazingly team-friendly deals again. In total money, you have Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna for $169 million.
Yeah, and then you have Freddie Freeman for like 170 or something like that for 8 years. Yeah.
Freddie Freeman, I think, is being paid what he's worth. He is a top 3 first baseman in terms of defense in baseball. He's one of the best hitters in baseball.
MVP.
Yeah, but it's just in terms of like actual value at those spots, unless you're a guy who's like crushing 50 home runs a year.
Yeah.
They don't value defense at first base very much.
It's the deal. Yeah, it's a good deal.
I don't understand that, but they just don't value it there. But for a guy like Ronald Acuna, his power, what he can do on base, I think he's worth a lot more than the money he's getting paid. But if you want to hear the flip side of it, where Kevin goes, "Oh, he didn't have to sign it. You didn't have to sign the contract. Nobody forced him to sign the contract." It's like we understand that, but it's also professional sports. Deals get reworked all the time. And I think Ozzie Albies is probably on a fair deal right now because he was pretty okay last year. He was not good at the plate.
Well, that kind of attitude runs people out of town.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was hurt last year, but Ozzie Albies was pretty okay. But I also think he's a guy who, after this year, if he has another all-star caliber year, he's a guy that you have to probably get paid or probably get ready to rework his deal. But I think Ronald Acuna right now, just based off the market and what happened, you got to rework that deal. If you want to say, Ronald, play through this year, make your $12 million this year, which is far from what your rookie salary would have been paying you. Play through that $12 million, and then let's get to the offseason and we can work on this. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, there has to be some good faith, Cam, I think, from the Braves and Ronald Acuna's base and saying we need something to go off of in the future that isn't just this 8-year deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a question for y'all. Do y'all think he's going to get more money, or do y'all think it's just going to be standstill? He's 8-year, $100 million. Got to go with that contract.
Hasn't done much for me yet that would make him seem like that kind of GM. He seems like he's.
The Braves are known not to pay people like you're saying.
But that's pre Alex Anthopoulos. There were different ownership groups then as well. And the Braves do have kind of a hard number that's been floated out there, like as to what their actual budget is. But I think it gets so complicated because how do you actually value Ronald Acuna in terms of money coming in for the Atlanta Braves, in terms of season ticket sales, people buying hats, people buying jerseys, right? Like people who just tune in to watch Ronald Acuna. How do you get to that actual value, and what is he actually worth? I think he's worth every penny you can pay him right now. Then that might just be me. Like Kevin said, some MLB guys had him and didn't even have him in the top 10, which I think, again, is just total baloney. The dude was almost a 40-40 guy a couple of years ago. But that
same guys who don't have Trevor Lawrence number 1. Yeah.
That being said, we got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back on Second Down. We got some folks fired up, Cody.
Dude, you got phone calls rolling in.
Yeah, I mean,
salty Braves fans.
Well, no, I mean, it was we had 3 calls in the break, which
3 of them, yep.
Love them, right?
One was from the homie Doug. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, Doug saying if, in fact, Ronald Acuna does get upset that he's not getting paid enough, it's because the media's talking about it, which, we get paid to talk about stuff on the radio. And that's one of the things that are going to come up. A couple people called in and said, listen, he signed the contract. You got to play out your contract. 1,000% get it. And we have one caller call in and say, you got to pay him. You got to do whatever you can to keep Ronald Acuna. I'm of that last accord. You got to call in, or you got to pay Ronald Acuna.
Also call in.
Yeah, you got to call in too. 912-342-7184. Call in. Maybe not right now because we got 40 seconds left in the show. But hey, call in and bother the 3 and out guys. 3 to 6. You got plenty of time to talk about this. No, I do want to know, folks out there listening, do you believe that either A, Ronald Acuna should hold out? Do you believe that the Atlanta Braves should come back and offer him a new deal? Or do you think, listen, you sign the contract, you play it out, we'll reapproach it in 8 years? We want to know what you think. 912-342-7184. 3 and out coming up. We will take your calls on there. Again, Fernando Tatis making some cheddar out in California. Ronald Acuna is making some cheese, but not quite that much.